Welcome to One Voice, One Body. I'm your host, John Fulbright, and today we are having a couple of guests today. The first one we'll start out with a local group here called Maranatha, and they are a Southern gospel group, and they are fantastic. They were also part of our Texas State Forest Festival Inspirational Praise Sing-Off this year, and they did a great job. So we're looking forward to hearing from them today. Also today we're at First Christian Church, and we're having the pastor of that church with us today. His name is Steve Lantis. I think you'll find him interesting and a lot of fun to talk to. So welcome to One Voice, One Body, and we look forward to seeing you inside. And we're back with One Voice, One Body, and today I'm glad to say that we have the pastor of First Christian Church here in Lufkin, Texas, Pastor Steve Lantis. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you.
and thank you for being here with us today.
Glad to have you.
You know, I've been kind of anxious to talk to you and really get into some questions with you because I find, one, that we share some commonalities in thought processes. Also, because you know, we have the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance going, and that seems to be going very well. But I want to know more about you as a pastor. And so the first thing I'd like to ask you is tell me how long you've been here, how long you've been in ministry, and a little bit about your family.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. It's a great joy to have this opportunity to chat and to visit about those things. And I have been here just a little more than 4 years now. Okay. Been here at First Christian. We moved here from Indianapolis, Indiana. And so we came from a long way, and we've had a transition of getting to know Deep East Texas, which has been great.
Yeah,
it's been really great.
Yeah.
And I was in the ministry for 12 years in Indiana before this ministry setting.
Okay.
My wife, Jennifer Steelantis, is the associate minister working with children and families here at the church.
All right. And
she's been doing that for a little more than a year now as well.
And let me say, Jennifer's great. I mean, she's a wonderful person.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that she is a fantastic addition to our ministry staff. Yeah. And I don't say that just because she's my wife. I say that because I know the gifts of ministry that she brings.
Right.
And boy, do they really bolster the work that we're doing here at First Christian. Deeply spiritual. And so one of the things that we enjoy as a family is sharing the ministry of the church together. We have 2 daughters. One's in the 6th grade and one's in the 2nd grade.
Oh, wow.
And they're both coming along here in the Lufkin schools, and so that's been really, really fun to help them.
So they're kind of in the wonder years.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And they really are. I mean, wondering and wandering, because they are learning all sorts of things. And, you know, the immersion in the Southern culture has been really exciting for them, and they've enjoyed that too quite a bit.
And that's a lot different for them, isn't it?
It is. You know, the Midwest is very different. So, and they're growing up right now. So, you know, they're really sort of immersed in all of that.
Have they kind of have they gotten to a point where they're making friends in the community? And
oh, absolutely. They're settled. You know, as far as we're concerned, the kids, after that first year, the kids sort of understood everything and how to get along and how to do things with friends and things here in a new place, which is always hard for kids, you know, making those transitions.
It is.
But the truth is that Jennifer and I have figured that out too. So we feel like, you know, we've settled in terms of being here as well. And so it's really a great church here at First Christian. Mm-hmm. We're really excited about some of the things that are going on and some of the ways that we're expressing church today. So.
Okay. Well, you know, you have such a beautiful sanctuary here, and I just can't imagine being here every Sunday to worship in this beautiful place. It's wonderful. But tell me this. I know that ministry means a lot to you. And tell me what brought you into ministry? What brought you into your calling?
Sure.
To want to preach and teach the gospel.
Mm-hmm. So I have sort of always felt that I have been immersed in church my entire life. My father was a pastor before me. My wife's father was a pastor before her as well.
Was he in the same denomination?
In the same denomination,
wow.
Christian Church Disciples of Christ.
Okay.
And so being people who focus on immersion baptism, mm-hmm. that's kind of been my metaphor for my calling to ministry. It has been an immersion baptism experience.
Okay.
It was never one conversion moment.
Mm-hmm.
It was a deep soaking of God's presence and working in my life that really brought me to ministry.
Wow.
See, when I was in high school myself and went to summer camp at church and things like that, you know, mm-hmm. all of that was really a big part of who I was. And really, my senior year of church camp, mm-hmm. I felt something stirring on that last day when we're all gathered in a big circle, you know.
Right.
When we have that wonderful moment where we sing those last songs and say farewell, I felt something.
Wow.
And I'm sure that a lot of other people did too.
Yeah.
And I really needed some time to discern what that was.
Right.
So I went off to college and I was a music major. I was a musician and I was a singer and a brass player. And so I knew that from my high school experience, I wanted to do music somehow.
All right.
And so in college, I majored in music education, focusing on that teaching aspect. I knew I wasn't a performer. I knew I wasn't going to Broadway or anything crazy like that. You know, that just wasn't in my in my repertoire.
Right.
So I experienced the process of learning to teach.
Okay.
And that was powerful for me.
Wow.
In college, I learned that a lot of the process of teaching is helping people do.
Yes.
And helping people discover.
Right.
And so that became a really important piece of me. Then all of that time was spent immersed in the church as well, because the choir would go on choir tours and we would sing in churches all over the country. Okay. The band would go on band tours and do all of that. So I was constantly immersed in the church again.
Wow.
And then when I graduated and started teaching, I started working with the local church youth group. Okay. And I was the youth group leader.
Wow.
And that was powerful too. It was kind of a process of stepping into more and more church in my life, to the point where I sat down with the associate minister of that church and said, I feel something calling me.
So you have this tug.
It was a tug.
Tugging at your heart.
It was a constant tug. And it was playing the music and the harmonies that were akin to my life all along.
Right.
And so what I did was I went to seminary because I had to figure out what this larger calling was for me. And in seminary, I discovered very clearly that, you know, as most people do in seminary.
Exactly.
Congregational ministry is what you're called.
This is it.
This is it. You know, this is my Broadway. This is my calling. This is my sense. And so what I then realized was, I asked myself, what are the things that I bring to this calling? Education.
All right.
Teaching.
Yes.
That is central
to
what I've discovered I am called to be as a pastor.
Exactly.
And as a congregate leader.
Right.
Music. Another important piece of my ministry.
Very much so.
And so here at First Christian, I'm always
in the worship, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm always kind of helping us sort of ask what kind of music goes best with what we're trying to accomplish in worship. And then the third piece was added in my seminary training, and that was clinical pastoral education, CPE for pastors that know it, and that is the chaplaincy in the hospital experience. Mm-hmm. And what was powerful to me about that was that I realized that the congregants, that the pastors, that the community of faith needed to be better at accompanying one another in life's troubles.
Very much so.
You know, sometimes the pastor is preacher, sometimes the pastor is pastoral caregiver in an office, sometimes the pastor is a teacher. Sometimes you and I both know the pastor is the one who arranges the chairs, sets up the tables, makes sure that the fellowship hall is swept.
Exactly.
You know, that's the reality of ministry.
That's the grunt.
That's the real of ministry.
Yeah.
And so what I realized is that we need to help each other in the difficult times of life as well. And so there's a piece to me beyond living in the congregation, in the church building like I do so often, beyond living there. We need to be in the hospital. We need to be by the bedside. We need to be walking with them in the hallway talking about cancer.
Right where they need it.
Talking about disease and struggle. Talking about bankruptcy. Those kinds of things.
Yeah.
That people experience in their everyday life. That so seldom do they ask someone to walk with them on that journey.
Rejoice!